appropriate to have a title such as that because, it's a spooky month with Halloween. So why not address some other fears that we deal with within our workplace as a realtor? And with that, overcoming the fear. So my name is Cindy Lazinski, and I'm based out of Los Angeles, California, and also working on developing a team in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area as well. Let's talk about when you're working with your sphere, especially friends and family and acquaintances, many agents experience that hesitation and are, here's a few points that we'll use to address that fear. But before moving to the next slide, how many of you already develop your business by working with people that know, like, and trust you? If you want, you can respond just in the chat with if you do already work your sphere, a 1, if you're already working with your sphere. It just helps us get some perspective as to where you are at as well. So Duke, you are already great. So we have some people that are already doing it. And with that, that means that we want to get better at it and develop things in a way so that you can truly maximize what it is that you do. So fear of rejection, that awkwardness. So the challenge is there's often a fear that reaching out to people in your sphere will make things awkward, lead to rejection, and you worry about that uncomfortable space of things. So the thing that I have found is you've got to reframe in your mind how you are going to really, work through that particular challenge. So your sphere already knows and trusts you, which gives you that advantage over getting leads through online programs like Zillow, HomeLight. These are people that already trust you. So you want to focus on offering value to not just asking for something right away, approaching them with a different mindset of helping out, not really selling. So has anybody and this is very interactive that we like to do as well. Does anybody have any personal examples of what the difference of those two would look like? I have some examples that I can share as well, but if an example comes up as to yeah, I remember meeting with a friend that we met out for lunch and I was afraid to say anything. Anybody have an example? So one thing that you could do is instead of saying, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell? That's framing it more of really truly just being a salesperson and that maybe you just met them for lunch just to make sure that you can get out to them that you're looking for new business. But instead, as you're having that conversation with them over lunch and just talking about life, because these are people that you know and like and you want to spend more time with, you can frame it instead with, I've been learning a lot about the market trends lately. Would you be interested in a quick update about your neighborhood? Has anybody tried using words like this?
No.
No. Do you see the difference of using that, the second sentence of, I've been learning a lot more about the market trends lately? What is another way that maybe you could word to give a value question rather than the question of, are you looking to buy or sell? Do you know somebody looking to buy or sell? What's another question we could use in a daily conversation?
I don't usually ask questions. I just start telling people how much I love selling real estate just to remind them that I am a real estate agent and that, I like helping people and just talk about scenarios. And then the conversation normally comes up that way.
Good. Yeah, and I like that when you're working with your sphere, if you're sharing your enthusiasm with them and your desire to being helpful and giving examples to them of of how you've been able to be helpful with others. Anybody else have an example? Okay, let's go on to our next one. Fear of being pushy or saucy. Who knows what saucy is? What does saucy mean? Being pushy and saucy. Anybody?
Salesy, being a salesperson.
Yep, just always trying. I say saucy, but when you are being saucy, salesy, it is, it's all about just you and your business rather than being about being helpful. So, with that is many agents worry that working their sphere could feel too salesy, and that it might strain personal relationships. So we want to reframe that challenge of that fear into treating your sphere as people you care about, not leads to be converted, but it's your goal to genuinely help and serve. It won't come across as pushy, but offer that expertise, offer support in a way that feels natural, focusing on solving problems or providing insight. So, what is one way that you can provide that type of insight versus coming across as, you're really, just being more salesy about who you are and trying to sell yourself as that agent? I'll give you one example, and then if you can come up with maybe an example or two of what you've already done or what you think you could start to do. So, hey, I came across some useful home maintenance tips for fall. Thought you might find them helpful. Offering that as a value gives that assurance that you're being helpful without pushing your business, because it's not always about are they or do they want to sell their home. You might have just sold them their home a year ago, so you're not going to want to push them to, are you ready to buy or sell, or do you know somebody that's ready to buy or sell? You create that value proposition. I came across some useful home maintenance tips for fall, thought you might find them helpful. And that opens up that conversation to being able to share more details, kind of like what Duke was even saying of providing value. This is how I help other people. This is what I can do to service you. So, thoughts on that aspect of things. If it's your goal to genuinely help and serve, what is one way that you can work towards letting the people who know, like, and trust you, and they will use you, provided that you create that value proposition? Jennifer, I know your camera's off, but I know sometimes you have some good insight into these things as well. Hi, Sandra. Welcome aboard. I see a few new people
Hey,
jumped in. Any thoughts from you, Sandra? I know you often have a lot of good insight.
and I'm sorry, Cindy. I have really wanted to get on here, but I've just been putting out fires today with different clients. But where are we at with this? I'm sorry, I just jumped in.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't see when you jumped in, so I will come back to you and let you get us sorted there. So we are talking about the second challenge, which is that challenge of being, as I say, saucy or salesy, where you want to reframe and you want to make sure that instead of just selling yourself, that your goal is to be genuine and helpful and serve, to get people that will not only use you when they're ready, but they will refer you. And so, again, the example that I'm giving out for you on this particular one is to make sure you come across with information such as, I just got some useful home maintenance tips for the fall, for Halloween, for Thanksgiving, whatever it might be, that you might find very helpful. And I'll be, happy to share that with you if you would like. So then the next one is the fear of mixing business with personal relationships. So I recall myself in this particular one years ago of a colleague of mine. She was a bowler. She would go bowling every week. She was on a bowling league. And she made it very clear to me. She goes, when I'm at bowling, I do not talk business. let anybody on the bowling team even know that I'm a realtor because I want to keep business and personal relationships separate. And that even early on in my career, I never understood why that was something that she, had as a fear or whatever she might describe it as. But the challenge in that is there's often that anxiety about combining personal relationship with business, fearing it could harm that friendship if things go wrong. So if you think through different activities and things that you do, have you ever come across this challenge? Have you ever felt like my friend on the bowling team? Anybody?
So I don't do that at church. That's about the only place that I don't, but I still have people that come up to me because they know I will talk to them then. But I typically wear the same t-shirts every day and people just know me like that. I kind of got that from Mark Zuckerberg, just wear the same thing every day. But on Sundays, whenever I do go to church, I don't wear that. I wear something totally different.
Right. But the people at your congregation, they see you outside of church. And because you have that consistency, they do recognize that of which you do as to being a realtor. But
Correct.
you don't need to speak about it at church.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. So in reframing the challenge, many successful business relationships are built on that trust, which you already have with your sphere. Set clear boundaries and ensure you're delivering the same level of professionalism you would to any client. Communicate openly and ensure both parties are comfortable with your arrangement. Now, with this reframe, and I love the example that Duke gave as to, you don't have to get into those conversations at those different locations where you're going to run into people on a consistent Sunday basis at your Sunday service or whatever day you would go to church. But the important thing is then when you follow up and those conversations do take place, that you're prepared to set those boundaries and making sure that you are confident with the conversations that you have with them and that they may, bring up as their own challenge with you in that, I know you through church and I don't want to create a problem with our relationship at church or our relationship at the bowling league, whatever that location might be, being prepared for those healthy conversations to build the relationship with the trust of that they trust you based on who you are in whatever other environment that is. Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring up on this particular challenge? Okay, let's go to number 4, the fear of disappointing your sphere. Challenge. Agents often worry that if something goes wrong in a transaction, it could damage their personal relationship. You don't want to damage that relationship that you have built through the years. So the reframe of this is confidence in your skills and commitment to communication are key. Acknowledge that no real estate transaction is ever 100% smooth, but how you handle those challenges will be remembered for more than the challenge itself. So this comes to reframing and understanding as a realtor, we do go through the various challenges through a transaction and prepping your client who is somebody that you've known, they know, like, and trust you, that you will overcome whatever challenges happen through the transaction. Bear with me one moment. Just wanted to correct that there. Sorry about that. So in the communication style that you develop as a realtor, it is very important to create that communication with all of your, whether those clients are from your sphere or from an online lead. The way you develop your business is going to be such that you would be able to overcome this challenge. What are your communication skills? How will you communicate with all of your clients, whether they're from your sphere or through an online lead or through a referral from another realtor? That communication is something you lean heavily into. So this challenge can be overcome with knowing that you know how to communicate. A sample, or I guess it would be a sample, is for you to be very transparent upfront about what the expectations are in a transaction, and knowing that if things go wrong, also sharing and being transparent about, should things go south, this is how and what I will do, and this is what you can expect in my dealing with those different issues. So let them know they're free to say no if they're not interested or comfortable, and you'll understand without any hard feelings. So this is talking about more if they are concerned up front. And in my 20 plus years, I did have one person that I can truly think of that they had very difficult past experiences working with family and friends. So they have just vowed that they would never work with somebody that they know. I had to be okay with that when they made that known to me. So I did share with them, I understand that, your position that you have made. So I would like to ask you of two different things. One, would you be interested in me referring to you somebody that I would use if I needed to use a realtor, somebody I know, like, and trust? So I was actually able to make the referral. And the other option, other item you can share with them is that I understand you may not utilize me, but maybe you know somebody, or in the future may come across somebody that you think would be a great fit to work with me. So even though that person may make that decision based on previous life experiences, there are still other ways for you to stay connected with them and potentially get referral business from them. Any thoughts on this particular one? Okay. 5. Fear of being judged for your expertise. Challenge. You may fear that your sphere knows you in a different context. Friend, neighbor, family member, soccer coach, church member, and won't take you serious as a real estate expert. That fear was big for me when I first got into the business. I threw in there soccer coach because I was the soccer coach. I was the soccer referee. Why would these people want to use me when, that's, who I am? I'm a full-time mom, soccer coach, and now I want to be a realtor as my business. And I had to overcome that, and the fear of what knowledge do I have that I can convey to them to help them choose to use me as a realtor. So the reframe is, your sphere already trusts your character. And I believe that a lot of being a great realtor really does come down to who you are as your character, and working with, being true to who you are. I often talk about that aspect. If you have causes that you like to support and that you're 100% supporter of, your sphere is going to know if that's truly something you support, or if it's something you jumped on because you think it's going to get you business. So share your market knowledge, industry insights, and your commitment to providing great service. As long as you lead with that professionalism, they'll see you as both a friend, soccer coach, a neighbor, but they'll also see you as a competent agent. So you want to lean into that competency, and they'll continue to trust you as a person and a professional. So again, that transparency and regular updates throughout the process, be the steady, trustworthy professional they can rely on in any situation. Any thoughts on this fear that you may encounter? It's often very difficult when you see that your neighbors have listed a property with somebody else, and how you can overcome that so that hopefully you become your trusted neighbor's realtor. Sherilyn, do you have any thoughts on that that one?
Yeah, I would say I struggled with that fear as well in the beginning. And something that my coach taught me is, okay, they already like you and trust you, but do they know that you can do the job? So on that competence side, he really encouraged me to everything in my social media and my mailings focus on the competent side. So things like market stats or stories about working through a difficult situation on a transaction, that kind of thing, the communication of the competent. And I think that really helped. So,
yeah, just that communication of conveying your own confidence and your knowledge of whatever it is that those discussions are forming around.
yeah.
I think that's great insight to it. Absolutely. Anybody else on? Okay. Next is our conclusion. Fear of working your sphere is natural, but it can be overcome by focusing on offering genuine value, maintaining professionalism, and building trust. When you prioritize serving rather than selling, your relationship will grow stronger, your sphere will appreciate you and help you, and there will be without feeling tricked or pressured. So basically, your sphere will really appreciate you, and they come around and they recommend you to others, and they will work with you when their opportunity presents itself. So overcoming this fear that we often encounter of dealing with people who know, like, and trust us in one aspect of our life, there are ways to overcome those fears so that you will be able to help them. So it all comes down to really the helping aspect and that communication. What additional communication can we share with one another right now to help with the overcoming those various fears? So we have a few different captions that we talked about, but overall, what are your thoughts right now from just those little tidbits that we shared today?
I'll say one thing that really compels me is we've all heard stories about transactions that they didn't feel like their realtor was treating them well, and that they felt like they were just a transaction and not being cared for during the process. So that really compels me because I don't want my friends, family, neighbors, people that I know to get in the hands of somebody that's not going to treat them well. So that's what motivates me to really stay connected with them, love on them through, client parties and pop buys and all of that, through their so that they don't feel like I'm just looking for another sale, because that's not necessarily, I'm looking to build relationships so that when the time comes, when their neighbor says, hey, we're thinking about selling, that they're going to refer me. So I'm not necessarily about wanting to sell their house, but I want them to think of me as their trusted professional. So
yes, that is the a good key element that we often talk about throughout our monthly sessions is what can we do to just be that person for them. It's not just about getting to be able to list their home or sell them a home, but being that trusted person whenever they need a referral of a roofer, they need a referral of a plumber, that they know to reach out. I've trained everybody that I know that, they need to reach out to me. And sometimes I get calls and my husband's like, why would they call you and ask you that? And I'm like, because I tell them all the time, whatever you need, I likely know a person that will be able to help you. And they truly take me up on it. And I personally find joy with that. And, it it makes a difference. And the other thing that you did touch on too is, doing the client parties, doing the pop buys. What are those touches that we do to serve our sphere so that they know we are truly there for them. And being that this is Halloween and Thanksgiving, kind of, well, more Halloween this month, does anybody have anything special that they're doing this month to reach out to their sphere? Anybody doing anything special?
I don't want to keep talking, but
No,
I'm
we
into
love
this. This month, my pop buys are caramel apple kit. So I got these cute little craft boxes, and I've got, a bag of caramel apples, some popsicle sticks to stick in the apple, and some sprinkles, a little package of sprinkles. So super easy, super inexpensive. I do about 24 to 36 a month. So next month we're doing gratitude jars. So we're basically taking some ball jars, putting slips of paper inside, and then my assistant ordered some really cute fall pins, attaching that on there, and a tag says, "What are you grateful for?" So, that the family can put it at their table and each night with their kids, or just with, each other if they're grandma and grandpa, and just write different gratitude things. And then we're also sticking a gratitude calendar with different prompts in it for every day of the week for the mailings. So when I send out my mailing, that gratitude is going to go in for my November 1st mailing. So I love this time of year. I think it's like really,
Nice.
really important that we go deep with our clients and love on them, and, bring them over. So, and I can
nice.
tell you more about Christmas later, but
Yes. Next month, please
Yes.
join again to share some Christmas ideas too. I
Yeah.
love the gratitude jar. That's wonderful. That's a great thing. I'm gonna have to look that up because I am looking for something new and different to do this year from what I've done in years past. And that's a great option.
Yeah, and it's
And Cindy,
very cheap because you can go to Walmart, you get the jars, and they end up costing you about $1 or less each. And then a pin on Amazon. There's some really cute fall pins. And I think I got, I'd have to look it up. We ordered them yesterday, but it was like $17, and you got like, I don't know, 50 pins or something like that. And they all had like fall leaves on them and just kind of generic. And then the slips of paper, that's
Right.
cheap. So, for $1 pretty much each, you can hit a lot of families, I think, and clients.
Right.
yeah,
Sandra?
Cindy, how are you?
Good.
I like how this, and I'm sorry for coming in at the end of this class, but I like how something you said that people, let me put my camera on so people don't think I'm an asshole. Sorry. I like what you said. You have to be transparent. I've been in this business 27 years, and that doesn't mean I know everything. I can promise you that. But you do have to be transparent. You have to be honest, and then you have to, of course, always build that relationship. Because if you become transactional, get on out to business, honey. You don't need to be in this business. So and to hear what Cheryl's going to do, and people are going to do for pop buys and client. So I was very transparent with my people. I don't know who knows me in here and what, but I'm very transparent. I have canceled all client parties. I have canceled anything that happens that needs attention that I've been doing with my clients for years. And I let all of them know, they already know that I'm helping with the hurricane victims, whether it's between North Carolina or Florida. I canceled rides, something I didn't want to do. This is my 5th year here. I've hit elite every year. I needed to go to rides, and I can't. And it was sometimes you have to make so difficult, hard decisions, and you just hope and pray everything works out right. So I told all of them, listen, not going to Vegas. Don't get upset if I cancel this client party. We're not going to have a party because the focus is people need people. And that's what we're saying here today. If we would sit and listen to what everybody said, love on your data, do this, do that. It's really simple. People need people. And it's been that way. COVID, that has really encouraged it more. So all you got to do is love on 1 or 2 people. People always, and I can promise you, let me tell you something. When I went to North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, Cindy, you think I really wanted to travel 13 and a half hours? I'm in Louisiana. You think I really wanted to cook all day and turn around and come back in another 13 and a half hours? It's just what I do. You know what you need to do. And if you do those things, I was like, well, my closings are supposed to happen here and here, so I can go do this and this. You're trying to balance everything out, right? Girl, while I was there, traveling back, I got a house under contract. I have 3 new listings that I'm working on right now. So what happened? Even though I didn't want to in my little mind, you ain't got time for this. You're doing something wrong. You need to be focused here, not over here. Da, 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 da. God still took care of it. And that's what you always, because I was running a little bit of fear, to be honest with you. It's like, it's October, it's November, December. Okay, we got 3 more months. What are we doing? How am I going to wrap up the year? What can I do to help with my 2025 plan? Everything gets to spinning. We all get overwhelmed. If you're not overwhelmed, if you are overwhelmed right now today, turn the TV off is all I can advise you today. I will advise you of that. Turn the damn thing off, okay? And just focus on where you need to be, how you can help people. And if you just help one person at a time, because people need people, you will grow in this business. No ifs, ands, or buts. Cindy, that's about all I had to say. I hope I didn't say anything negative.
No,
I always try to keep a clean mouth. I have a potty mouth, but I try to keep it. Try to keep it as clean as I can.
I love it. And, again, even with a lot of what the first part of this focused on, it is about that true transparent communication with your sphere of helping them understand what to expect of what you do as to who you are as a person, and then also making sure they understand that you're still in business. You are a servant. You serve people who need your help. You're there to be helpful. And I think Duke even expressed that in so many ways earlier, that the people that know him through his church see him on a daily basis, and they know him to be a helpful person. When you openly communicate and people understand what to expect, things do start to flow. And being true to yourself, again, if you went there because you felt that it would help your business and you're doing it because it's going to help your business, your people will see right through that, and it will destroy you more than anything, in my opinion. It's not going to do anything for you because you're doing it for the wrong reason. When you're doing things to help others for the right reason, that fear just goes away, and that things will come back to you because you're doing things for the right reason.
That's why they call it karma. Don't get you when you ain't looking.
Yep.
Happens every time. It could happen one day, 24 hours, it could happen 1 year. But
Yep.
if you do something just for you and you put the focus just on you, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
Yep.
I don't care what. It don't have to be real estate. It can be a relationship. It can be whatever you're trying to do. You are in deep doo-doo. Big time. So,
Yep.
Cindy, you still going to rise?
I am. I need to go. So I am dealing with, I've been dealing with many difficult life things. And I almost canceled this, but I said, nope, I need to push through partly what I'm going through. My husband moved from California to Pennsylvania over a year ago to take care of his mom. Her health has not been well for over a year. The struggle got real when he had a heart attack 4 months ago, open heart surgery. His mom took a bad turn 4 months ago, and she just passed away a couple days ago. And we'll be having service this week. And I know for my mental health, I need to go to Rise. And it's more for my mental health than anything.
Right. And that's great. I mean, I'm glad you were transparent with all of us on this call here. We don't ever know what's going on in other people's lives. That's one thing. You never can judge a book by its cover. Of course, you don't know what's going on in other people's lives. So, it's the same way. It's the same way. When we get overwhelmed and you're a top producer, you're elite, you're everything. You got to keep pushing to keep being. Believe me, even the strong get weak. I'm pointing to me. Okay. Even the strong cracks and we get weak. The people who are strong are the ones you need to check on always.
Yep.
Always. But I mean, I get into the Clubhouse. You ever heard of that app, haven't you? The Clubhouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have been in the clubhouse for 7 years. Ever since COVID came out, I have made friends all over the United States, Canada, got Howard over in Israel that I'm talking to just about every day. They listen to the bombs. I am telling you, if it wasn't for something to keep my mental health, you just said that, right? I've got to go to Rise to keep me inspired, to keep me because we're all like a charcoal in a barbecue pit. If we jump out of the barbecue pit, we're going to cool off, right? So we got to figure out how to keep that fire going. I mean, I talk with passion because I love real estate. I wouldn't been doing this crap for 27 years either. But you got to stay in that fire. So you are who you surround yourself with. And I've learned if you're the smartest person in that room, get the hell out of that room, right? So I mean, it's just the truth. But it's like that has always helped me. So when you feel like you're getting down, get up in the club. I call it the club. It's the clubhouse. Get up in the
Get in the
clubhouse.
club.
Hit the club and let those people help you, you know?
Yeah. Well, and that's, why I figured I for a moment, I looked at canceling going, and my husband, he's like, no, you need to go. He goes, I know you need to go. And, I'm from a very large family. My mom was one of 16 kids. So I have 90 first cousins, and I'm like number 85. So everybody's older than me. And I told my mom, I said, we're going to deal with death and dying all the time at our age because we're the youngest of each of our generation. And, we need to live life to the fullest and live life being kind and thoughtful, even whenever it's very difficult at times. And very fearful at times, even because I still try to be kind when I'm being delivered something other than that. But, in life, we know that there's death. And so you've got to embrace and live your best life. That's partly what attracted me to making a change to Real, is that they lead with kindness. And, that's important in my daily life. And, my husband and I have taken care of family for years. We moved a 95-year-old uncle from Florida to California, and he lived with us for 2.5 years. And there were times where the fear would set in of life changes that we were making to care for others. Would my business, start to, go down some? But, I would share my journey and my story and my husband's story, and, business continued to flow. And so overcoming the fear of doing what's true to your heart, of helping others, is something that I am passionate about, and realize that not everybody has the ability to do that, but we had the ability to do it, and business continued. So that's partly why I felt like the topic for today of overcoming fear and having those little nuggets of discussing that would be something that would be true for this Halloween season, and that it would bring up other topics and opportunities for people to share.
Well, I don't know. Let me look down. I'm on my phone. I don't know I don't know a person on this call, unless they know me. But who is all going to Rise? And I mean, do you know these people on this call? I mean, just kind of looking.
Sherilyn's going.
Oh, okay.
Duke is going to be new to the Real group. Not sure any others on here that are going. Michael, Dave, Lavonda.
No, I won't be going. Actually, when is it?
It starts Monday.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not going. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties here.
No
If you can hear
worries.
me.
I'm new to Real, so I'm still getting acclimated.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that you found this session, and please feel free to, save my name. Anybody that's new to Real, I have various little tips. I've only been with Real 1.5 years myself. But I'm always open for discussions with other agents, whether they're with Real or not, and, kind of sidebar discussions, and, any
Okay.
questions you might have. I'm not, a full-on coach of any sort. I love talking real estate. I love talking how to how to grow your business. Jennifer on here is on my team. Lori Miller's on my team. And, we do, like discussing with other people, coming up with other ways that we can build our business. We'd like to build even referral basis of agent to agent referrals, of working, across the country with others. And at Rise, I do have, if Cheryl, if you're arriving early, Monday morning, I'm doing a kind of a morning walk and talk at 7:30 a.m. I became a runner 5 years ago. And so anytime I'm out of town,
You became a runner.
I became a runner. I was never a runner my entire life.
Girl, the only thing I run after is the ice cream truck. I don't run after nothing.
I used to say the only time I'm running is if the police are chasing me. But now my goal is to run a half marathon in every state, and I have 9 states down. So yeah, thank you, Duke. Yeah. So I keep trying to get, other real agents to get active and involved. I feel that that's the other important thing for realtors is mental health. Have a lot of family members that have experienced a lot of mental health issues, and running is one way that I maintain my own realtor mental health. And when I have a real estate problem, nothing like going for a 3-4 mile run to figure out a solution to that problem.
That's the way you're releasing. So Cindy and Cheryl, I'm going to ask a few other people that I know going. There will be a topic on that at the Rise. I'm also on the culture ambassador thingamajig behind the scenes at this company, and so that was one thing I know that they're going to be talking about is mental health at the conference. And I really want to. And I'm just kicking myself in the butt. I've had this ticket. I had that ticket for before the last Rise come out over a year. It's just like, man, I just really wanted to go, and especially this time around because we did lose someone in this company to suicide and mental health, and it shocked a lot of us. So I think it's a good thing that Real is going to be discussing that, and people need to know. People need people, and they always need to reach out.
People need people. Yeah. And that's, I was a social worker before becoming a realtor. And so it is something that, I deal a lot with my clients even. And,
I think we all do. I mean, we're like unpaid psychiatrists. Yeah. I used to own several bar rooms before all this, and let me tell you something. Same thing with bartenders; they're just unpaid, psychiatrists. Where you just got to sit there and listen to everybody crying their beer, kind of thing. And it's almost the same thing when you're going through these difficult transactions. You're just an unpaid psychiatrist. That's all it is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm glad to hear that that'll be addressed at the conference as well, because it's definitely needed. So anybody else want to chime in, share any thoughts? And this is generally how this session goes, where we try to have a little bit of kind of organized discussion at the beginning, and then open quorum and discussion as to whatever is needed at this time.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry for the loss of your mother-in-law, and I'll be praying for you the next couple of weeks, just because I know it's very traumatic going through a death of a family member. So I'm really sorry to hear that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's it's definitely, the merging of the relief and the sadness creates an internal fight because you're grateful that they're no longer in pain, and you're grateful to know that they're in a better place, and that faith helps you deal with that. But then the sorrow of what will no longer be, and it's the struggle is real. I'll probably run a lot more miles the next month. I'll tell you that much. I'll be running a lot more. But I appreciate the thoughts and prayers. So thank you all for that. Much appreciated.
Well, Cindy, thank you for doing this class. I don't always get on when you're doing it, but I actually checked some kind of box, had it put on my calendar for today.
Yay.
I'm sorry I was late. I like I love how your consistency is, even when you have your own issue, that you're able to
Well,
come in here and do what you do. So thank you so much.
oh, yes. Yeah. Well, I knew
I
I'd get
appreciate you
support.
all allowing me to jump in too. I work in mental health. I've been in mental health for 30 years. I'm a mobile crisis counselor. So people call us up, they're suicidal, sometimes they're homicidal, toxic from drugs. I work with a lot of at-risk kids. So mental health is definitely a real thing. And it's great that America is starting to recognize that as a health and not just as something head.
Yep.
Thank you for
Uh,
allowing.
yeah. Well, and thank you for your service in the mental health industry as well. And I was a social worker for 15 years and worked with a lot of the same as to what you mentioned. And it's finally everybody I think has a better how do I want to say it, a better grip on knowing that you don't just say somebody's crazy and instead work towards being helpful for whatever they may be encountering. Um, there's there's options for help and guidance and even with dealing with a senior and my mother-in-law, my husband, had a lot of struggles of that. And thankfully, the insurance that we pay a lot for because he's a diabetic since age 3, it's good insurance and it covers a weekly counseling session. And my husband has been going to counseling for a year on learning to deal with the relationship with his mother, of where his mother's at now and how that impacts his health and his life. And he has a session tomorrow. And I asked him, are you, in light of what we're going through right now and the busy schedule of preparing for everything, are you still holding that session? And he was like, absolutely, yes. I need to meet with my counselor. And our daughter, who flew into town, is actually going to go with him to that session too. And, just the support that my husband gets from the counselor and the support of our daughters and myself as to how that has helped him. Our daughters now also go to counseling. And, it counseling is viewed upon so differently today than it was 5 years ago, that it's acceptable that you have a counselor and it's healthy that you have a counselor. And the more that people, agree with that and understand that, the healthier our country will become. And so I'm proud of, and open to sharing that because my husband is open to sharing that, and he shares that with so many of his friends that start to go through different things as we're adults of aging parents. It's a real struggle, and getting that support of a counselor can help you deal with that so that it doesn't impact other aspects of your life. Your marriage, we've been married 34 years and I still like him. So I'll let that go on record. But it's important whether you're a realtor or whatever profession, it's important. So I know we're at our time, and just want to thank all of you for being here today. To talk about our sphere and talk about being a realtor, the fears that we encounter working our sphere, but even just the fears we encounter of being who we are. Thank you all for being open and sharing various experiences and being supportive of me today. I do appreciate that. And I do like to always end on one statement, but just want to give anybody one last moment. Anybody have any last words you would like to share? Okay.
Nope. All I did was put my information in the chat if anybody ever wants to call or email or whatever.
Perfect. Thank you for doing that. Anybody else? Well, thank you all for joining today. I always like to end with be kind, be nice, do an act of kindness that can make a difference in somebody's life. You never know, but it could be that simple smile that is free to give out that could make a difference and lift somebody up. So wish you a great one. Thanks for joining in today.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.